Debrief looks a little bit different this week. The X's and O's have been packed away, and I've enlisted the help of my old mate, Mark Knowles, to help me debrief some of the rising stars of the JDH Hockey One season. Big smile on your face, Knowlesy. G'day to you, my friend.
Orch, how are you, mate?
Yeah, fantastic. Loving what the JDH Hockey One season is bringing us. I'm sure you are the same. Now, for those that don't know, Knowlesy, you're the National Athlete Pathway Program technical lead at the moment, so you get to run your eyes over the best young talent in the country. You've just come back from the Sultan of Johor Cup in Malaysia with the boys. How did they go firstly? And what did you think of their development ahead of the Junior World Cup?
Yeah, thanks, Orch. It was a good tournament, mate. It's as the people who got to see, and of course the boys who played, it's a brilliant preparation tournament. 34, 35, 36 degrees, 90% humidity, a little bit of European flavour with Germany there. GB there. So some good competition. Boys learnt a lot. We had a European tour in June where we certainly learnt a lot about, ourselves as coaches and the boys playing. But it was a good tournament. We lost in shootouts, mate, but we also lost 6-0 against that German team in June. So to get 0-0 in a final and then lose in a shootout, and I know you talked about on last week's podcast about the importance of shootouts and stuff, but very, very important, mate. So we're in a good spot. We've got another 2 weeks of training for the guys, and we're off to Malaysia again.
Oh, great cross promotion there for the shootout, Knowlesy. You're a pro, mate. I love it. That's why I got you on. Nothing prepares you for the heat of Malaysia. I tell you what, you can get in as many heat chambers as you want, but that place is tough to play, and the Germans also very tough as well. So some valuable lessons learned. But, mate, the reason I got you on today, I want you to run your eye over 3 of the best and brightest young men in the JDH Hockey One League. I've loved watching these blokes, but I want to know, can they make the next step? So let's start with the Victorian Cooper Burns. He's caught a lot of people's eyes and turned a few heads. He's big, he's strong, he's tough. But Knowlesy, every international player is either big, strong or tough. So can he make the leap to the next level?
Or maybe apart from when you and I played, but yeah. I think he can, Orch. As you said, you got to have certain attributes to even, to even be an international player. He's 21 years old. He's physical. He's a physical beast. He loves the contest, loves being, he wants to win every race. He wants to win every repeated speed. He wants to, hit the ball the fastest and score the most goals. And I think that's a big step. You gotta want it. He certainly has some trickery. I think that's a big piece about his game. When you're a striker with 3D skills, with ball protection, with physical capacity, and a drag flick, you're a pretty good prospect in my eyes.
Yeah, you're spot on there. The drag flick is such an important part of the game. And I guess my question for Cooper Burns, we know he's strong and he's tough, and that works great against younger opposition. But does he have the mental resilience, I guess, Knowlesy, to step up to international level against men who aren't going to give him the time and space that he needs to create?
Well, I think at the moment, Orch, that would be the big challenge for all of these young boys. And I don't think, we're not going behind their backs here. We're saying this very openly, but this group of young men have missed out on some competition. Certainly one of my challenges in my role is to get more match play into these boys, like make them competitive more often. I think that's one for Coop is that we saw that at 21s this year in big moments, these boys and how they progress. Certainly for him, the other part, mate, is just like the tactical understanding of where to be, when to be there, how to get the ball in between a zone, over a zone, in a marking full press, in a marking half court, in a zonal half court, in a 4-4-2. There's so much to the game that we're trying to teach these boys, but certainly you got to have, as we said, you got to have some attributes first, and then they got to learn these skills. And that's the upskilling that they need at the moment.
Yeah, you're spot on, mate. There's also, the defensive side of the ball has become so important. Your ability, this is my biggest lesson, I reckon, for young players. You can create your own shots. You can put it on a platter for your teammates. But if you can steal the ball, maybe even just once, twice a half, they are some of the best opportunities, because often the other team is at 6s and 7s. They obviously don't have their structure behind the ball. And if someone with his pace and his strength and obviously his wide array of goal scoring opportunities can pinch it himself and then hammer it in, that'd be a dangerous prospect for the Kookaburras moving forward. Let's move on to another bloke that I love, New South Wales defensive mid, Nath Zner. What do you like most about him?
Yeah, Armadale boy, country boy, fits in beautifully with us too, Orch, doesn't he? Very, 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 very smooth. Lovely mover. I think has some flexibility in his gameplay, so he can play obviously in the halves, which is where he's played a bit for New South Wales. He can definitely play DM where he's played for us. He's played in a free defender role for New South in underage level. He's one of the more modern day players where they're not pigeonholed, they're not defensive. They got all the strings to their bow. He's one of the leadership group, so he's certainly developing himself and his personality on and off the field. I think for him, when you play in the engine room, Orch, like you did, you gotta have all of those areas to your game. And I think certainly for him, his without ball stuff is what we're working hardest on him with. He's tackling, when to intercept, when to hold up. So yeah, he's a huge talent, but playing in a very, very good team in that New South Wales Pride team.
I'm going to play devil's advocate, mate, because you led me down the road. If I take him out of the New South Wales side alongside Ogilvy, Craig, Sharp when he's playing, Hayes, Martin, and I throw him into, say, a Perth Thundersticks team, let's switch him with Aaron Zalewski. Does he have the same impetus? Can he drive the team forward? Can he break lines? Can he get in behind opposition defences and make life really difficult for the deep defence of his opposition?
Maybe I'll throw this one back to you. Are you off the Perth Thundersticks, Orch? That sounded like you were throwing him to a bogey unit to me. I won't comment on states. I'm fully neutral, especially before Perth play Brisbane this Sunday. However, yes, I do think he could still play very well. And maybe even Orch, in my experience, I think he would take on more responsibility in that Perth unit. I reckon they could use a bit of creativity in the outside halves. A little bit more ball movement and quality at the back to be able to break down presses, and bit more polish with the ball would help that team. But maybe that's your next trade talk for next week.
Yeah, like it, mate. Very highly internally rated as well. I know Brent Livermore, the coach, has a big opinion of him, and so he should. The teammates also love playing alongside him, and often that's a pretty good marker of someone. If Flynn Ogilvy's coming off the pitch saying, gee, he's great to play with, they're a really good foil for one another at the moment. Love watching him play. Hey, yeah, we talked about Perth. Let's talk about one of their rising stars so we don't get them offside as well. Cam Gettys, monster bomb. That's what stands out off the page. But my query is, all right, so you're playing against a fall-away press, a German side that wants to suck right deep into their back half. Can he get into creative positions? Can he advance up the field? Is he comfortable on the ball in the attacking 25 if teams aren't pressing and he can't just loop it over the top?
Yeah, he can. I actually think that is one of his strengths, Orch. I don't, and I'll probably reflect back on my own career as well. I think sometimes when you're playing that free defender role, we put so much emphasis on being him, getting him on the hotline and getting him into the second man tackles and covering up his back three, that sometimes I reckon we take some creative juice away from him. He's certainly got to find the balance, but he is very nice with the ball. Absolute speed to burn. Last year he played in Sultan of Johor in the outside halves, and we bombed him up and down the lines with very, very good effect. I think certainly his big challenge, mate, is whether he can play that type of game, whether he can pick his passes and not just give the ball away. And we certainly saw some real improvements from him in Europe and Johor in the way that he was able to pick apart some of those defences. Maybe my last point for him, Orch, is I reckon when you have a Zner, Henderson and a Mallon, for example, in your defensive midfields in front of you, his game can go to a new level if he could play better and link better with those three very, very highly talented players. I reckon he gets out of a bit of the back four free defender mode and into like creative genius and working with his DMs, he's going to be a very good player.